Okay, getting cozy here. Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. Welcome to the Stitch Sessions if you're new here, and if you're not new here, welcome back. This video will be going live on Christmas Day because it falls on a Wednesday, and you guys that know me know that I upload every Wednesday. More than likely, if you're watching this on Christmas Day, it's probably going to be in the evening. That's usually when there's a little bit of downtime. You know, you've already had your dinner, and maybe you're watching a Netflix show or a movie, or some of us like to have something a little bit to do. So this is going to be our year in review of our Home Sweet Home crochet series for 2024. So if you've missed any of our previous projects, there is going to be a link in the description box to the playlist with the detailed tutorials there. But I'm going to go through all of them with you today. And in case you missed one that gives you some inspiration, you can go and check out that video. So I know sometimes after you've had your Christmas dinner and there's some downtime, maybe you're watching a Christmas movie or a Netflix series. I know I always like to kind of catch up on a crochet project, something nice and easy and mindless. This would be a great time to maybe start working through your stash and maybe doing something like a stash busting project, like a blanket or a scarf using your scraps. I definitely like to do that. So if you've got a work in progress, maybe settle in with that and let's hang out together and talk about this year's crochet series. So every year I do a series that revolves around a theme. So some of you guys may have seen online people do crochet alongs or knit alongs, and it's usually something like a calendar blanket or a temperature blanket, something like that. And I don't like doing them myself. I love watching them, but the thing is I would have a million blankets because, you know, I'm always crocheting something. So I like to create a series and it's a theme. So for this year, our theme was Home Sweet Home. So the first Wednesday of every month, we crocheted a project that had to do with the home or was related to the home, whether it was decorative or functional or a little bit of both. So I'm going to go through all of those projects with you today. And if you've missed any of them, there will be a link for the playlist in the description box down below. And in fact, I'll leave a link to the playlist of this previous years as well, especially if you're new to this channel. I've been doing a crochet series since 2019, I believe. So there's quite a few series that you can check out if you're looking for some inspiration, or maybe you're looking for something specific to create for a particular occasion. So you can check that out. All right, so why don't we dive in? Okay, let me grab my trusty notes here. So I'm going to talk about like my favorite, my easiest, my hardest, my greatest fails, my greatest successes, all of the above. So let's start with January. So for January, we worked on the Blossom blanket, and you can see right here that it is hanging out with me here today. This blanket, I would call it the easiest and one of the top cutest. All you need to do is know how to double crochet. So I'm just going to bring this up here. It's got this beautiful little colorway with this yarn. I forget what, I think it was like Forever. No, it was a Caron Cakes. It was a Caron Cakes. You know what? When you guys check out the video for this tutorial, you'll get all the info on the material. But it's not a latte cake, but it's very similar to the latte cakes yarn. And it feels divine, and it's just double crochet stitches. So this is a great example of something that maybe during your downtime, if you're watching a movie or your favorite series, this is super easy to do because once you get your first row done, you don't really have to count anymore. And it's created with a built-in little border. So I don't know if you can see that there, but there's a nice little eyelet row here, and it goes all the way around the blanket. And you don't have to do it after the fact. It gets worked in as you crochet the blanket. And I love cozying up on the couch and watching a nice little movie with this blanket. And I call it the Blossom blanket because of the colorway. It just reminded me of like spring flowers to come. And you know, in the midst of January when it's super cold, I needed a little bit of inspiration. So if you're looking for something super beginner friendly and easy, I wouldn't say this is super quick, but you can whip it up fairly quickly in the sense that it's not intricate in its stitches. So if you're looking for something like that, then this blanket is definitely going to be for you. So that's January's project, the Blossom Blanket. Okay, let's talk about February. I think this project was the cutest. It was super cute. And this was the Elegant Tea Cozy. And I've always wanted to do a tea cozy. And so this one I used puff stitches and I just worked all the way around the teapot, and I just think it looked so cute and so adorable with my tea set. I love me a good afternoon tea. In fact, I always thought when I retired I'd open a tea house, but you know, things have changed since I've delved back into crochet. But I love an afternoon tea moment, and I think a tea cozy is a really great project to do, and it also makes for a nice gift. Like if you know someone that likes to entertain a lot, maybe add it as part of an ensemble gift. The tea cozy is a really good one to do. Now remember, anytime you work on projects that come in contact with high heat and or moisture, I always go for 100% cotton yarn. And I've talked about this many times in the video tutorials that I know there's some cotton blends out there, like partial cotton, partial acrylic. I stay away from those. I just want to stay super safe and stick with 100% cotton. So just keep that in mind anytime you're working on projects that come in contact with heat. So for February's project, we had the Elegant Tea Cozy. Okay, so moving along to March, this was one of my favorites from a previous year. I think this was a take from a project I had done in another series, and I think it was from the series in 2019, and that series was called The 12 Gifts of Crochet. And so every month I had a different gift idea. And in March of that year, and I did the laundry bag, and that one came out so great, but I wanted to adjust the handles on that project. So for March of this year, because it's still related to the home, I did a laundry bag, but I called it the best laundry bag ever because I made this one super size. In fact, I think I probably made it a little too big because it really goes down past my knees. But it's great for like lots of towels and linens. It's great for that. And the thing I love about this laundry bag is I made it using the mesh stitch, and it has a little bit of stretch to it, so it's really great. And the other thing is I like to throw in the laundry bag with the wash. So when you take out the fresh linens, you also put them in a fresh, clean laundry bag. And this also makes a great gift for somebody that's maybe going away to college or university, because you know they're doing their own laundry for the first time. This would also make a great gift. So it's the best ever laundry bag, and that was March's project in the Home Sweet Home series. Okay, now moving along to April, we had the I Spy Trivet. And I called it the I Spy because the motif in the center reminds me of an eye. And it's actually a take on the mystical lantern motif, which to me, I mean, it depends on how you work it with the colorways, but I really just thought it looked like an eye. So I used that motif for the center of this trivet. And then I show you how to take that shape and transform it into a squared off, actually it was a rectangular shape. And then you can actually create it to be a little bit larger, and I did a little border around the way. So great project for a trivet. I always like to double line my trivets or hot pads, things like that. Again, coming in contact with high heat, use 100% cotton. So I think you really like this one. You can get really creative with the different colors that you can use. So this one was a little bit muted, I guess you would say. I had more fall colors because, to be honest, I was using some leftover yarn. And actually, so the top two cotton yarns that I would use is Bernat Handicrafter cotton, and the other one is my new favorite lately is Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton. And you'll find throughout this series that I use that cotton a lot for a lot of my high heat projects. So check that out in that tutorial. Okay, so moving along to May, we had the cutest coasters ever. So they were super easy, and they just make for, again, a great ensemble. If you're gonna make like a housewarming gift, let's say, you could do something like the tea cozy with the trivet and the coasters all together. It would make for a really super great gift. And this one is also very beginner friendly. The stitches were super simple, and we just, you know, crocheted back and forth to create a little square, and then I just did a really simple chain stitch border, and Bob's your uncle. So if you need something cute and quick to whip up, these coasters are the one for you. So that was May's Home Sweet Home project. Okay, so let's move along to June's project, and this was the oval rope rug. Now, I have to say, this was probably my most highly requested. I have another rope rug tutorial already on the channel, and it was done just kind of going back and forth. It was a rectangular shape, and that one was really, really popular. You guys really love crochet rug projects, so I'll keep that in mind for future. So you guys really loved that one because I incorporated a macrame rope in it. And so I had a few requests to ask me to make one in an oval shape. So off I went to create this design. And so I'm a little bit torn about how I feel about this project, because this one was probably what I would call one of my biggest fails. And the reason being is because of the oval shape and trapping the cording in there while I crocheted. I think, looking back on it, I should have put more increases on each end, because it did buckle a little bit. And some of you that tried it, maybe that probably happened to you. Maybe you were quick enough to figure out you needed more increases. And I really thought that by blocking it and using a bit of steam with the iron, again, it's 100% cotton, so I used the steam right on it. I thought it was going to kind of work its way out, and it did to an extent. You know, maybe if I'd spent more time on it, but it was just so cumbersome that it still had a little bit of a buckle or a bubble in it, so I wasn't 100% satisfied with it, but I loved the look and the idea of how that could come about. So if some of you have tried that project and maybe you've worked your way around that kink, please leave a comment for me in the description box down below, because I'd love to share it with everybody else that's been working on that rug. So, you know, I enjoyed it, but I just felt like that project for this year was probably my biggest fail. But I kind of know what I would do differently next time. So that was June's project. Okay, so moving along to July, this was a super cute one to do too, and also really quick and great for using up scrap yarn. So this was the Mosaic Bunting, and I created these little motifs using a mini granny square, and then I just did these little 4 points on each corner. It kind of looks like a little star, but it reminds me of like a mosaic type star that you would see maybe in a tile. And I had this brand new shower curtain that was just kind of bland on the top, and I like those kind of coral blue colors. So again, I had some leftover cotton yarn in those colors, so I decided that's what I'm going to do. So I created the motifs, and then I crocheted a chain to attach them all together, and then I looped them through each of the shower curtain rings, and it just added this extra little oomph to a very bland shower curtain. Now, of course, you can hang that bunting anywhere, but that just happens to be how I used my bunting. And I'm curious to see how many of you actually created that bunting, because I didn't notice too many comments on that video, but I'm always curious to see, you know, what colors did you choose and where did you choose to hang your bunting? I'm just really curious. So that was July's project. Now let's move on to August, and I have to say this is my absolute favorite project of the year. I always have one, sometimes I have two, but this year it was August's project, and it was the vintage style lampshade. So you guys may remember back in August I bought this pretty little lamp. It was brass, but it had a glass dome on the top, and for me, I don't like clear glass like that because I find the brightness of the light is just too bright, especially for a lamp. But I love the shape, I love the brass stand, and I knew right away this is the lamp that I'm going to make a shade for. So I used, I believe it was the V-stitch that I used to create the shade. So I just started with the little circular opening at the top. I did a little bit of an increase, and then I just continued down the bottom, no more increases, and then it just fit perfectly over the lampshade. And then just at the bottom, I did a little scalloped edging. And so it lets light through because it's a little bit on the lacy side, but it diffuses the light perfectly. And I think it looks amazing, especially with my Christmas decor. And you guys know how much I love a Victorian theme, and I love vintage mixed in with some of my modern decor and furniture. Now, I have had a comment, and I think it's from someone in Europe. I did manage to translate that. I have had a comment about someone who said, well, that's a great way to catch fire, right? Because, you know, it's close to the bulb, etc., etc. This is why, if you watch the tutorial, it's interesting because I think sometimes people just see the thumbnail and they just feel like they want to comment, or maybe they've watched the intro and then they comment right away. It's 100% cotton, and it is sitting on the glass. It's not even on the bulb. It is not going to catch fire. And also, I'm not leaving the bulb on like 24 hours a day. So I just think people need to kind of maybe think more practically about how these things are used. And I would never put a tutorial online that I hadn't kind of vetted and tested myself. And I've had that lamp now since August. It's now December, and I haven't had any issues with it, and I turn it on all the time in the evenings. So if you're looking for something really neat to add to your decor with your lamps, that lampshade was my absolute favorite. Okay, so let's go on to September. Now we're heading into the fall, and in the theme with the rope rug, I made a rope basket. And I've actually done another rope basket before. It was a rectangular bottom. Also, super popular project. You guys really like to crochet with rope. I'm kind of getting that feeling. So this one, I think in that project, someone also had left a comment asking if I could do one with a circular basket. So I did one with this. So this year was a lot of rounded shapes. I had the oval rug, and now here I had the rope basket, and I did it in a circle. So actually, I think I might have one lying around here. Okay. There we go. Actually, here is one right now. Now, this one does not have a handle on it. The project that you'll see in the video, I did create a little handle for it. So this one is the rope basket. So you can see on the bottom, it's nice and round. And then so you start with your increases. And then once you have the size that you like, then you stop increasing and you work your way up. And this one's super, super cute, which is going to be part of a birthday gift coming up shortly. So that was the rope basket, and you guys really like this one. So if you haven't checked this one out, definitely check this one out. It was September's Home Sweet Home project. Okay, so let's move along to October. So now we're getting deep into fall. I know you've got Halloween coming up. In Canada, we were gearing up for Thanksgiving. So if you celebrate American Thanksgiving, then this project would have given you tons of time to get this ready. It was the block stitch placemats. Now, I already have a stitch tutorial on how to crochet the block stitch, and that was done going back and forth. And I believe I also have one for a granny square, a block stitch granny square, and that has it being crocheted in the round, which is also handy. So I decided to take that granny square idea and do it in a granny rectangle. You guys love granny rectangle motifs. So anytime I do some kind of a motif that's granny related, you always love it when I do it in a rectangular shape. So that is how I created the placemats. So the placemats are rectangular in nature, and I use that block stitch following the method of a granny square. And I use that pretty kind of like not quite a powdery blue, but a light blue and a white. Just kind of created this beautiful little detailed accent, and I think it would make for a beautiful, elegant tablescape. So of course you can use any color you like. And if you were doing this specifically for the Thanksgiving theme, maybe you'd want to do something a little bit on the darker side or with some jewel tones like the oranges and the reds, things like that. But I really liked how mine came out. It goes with my decor. I have a lot of blue in my decor, so I really like how that came out. So that was the block stitch placemat for October. Now moving on to November, we're getting into cold and cozy season. So we did the bowl cozy. Now this one I had a lot of fun making because I've seen a lot of quilters quilt bowl cozies. And at first I was thinking, oh, I'm just gonna use that same sewing technique in crochet, but it didn't kind of come out the way I was hoping. And then I thought to myself, why am I trying to reinvent the wheel? It's a bowl, it's circular. So I started with a circle motif, and then I just intermittently worked in increase rounds as I went. So I didn't increase in every round. I increased a couple of rounds, and then once I wanted it to start curling, then I would alternate. Some rounds I wouldn't increase and some rounds I would. And that's what creates that bowl-like shape, which is perfect because how many of you have tried to pick up a bowl after you've poured some hot soup in it, or maybe you've put something in the microwave and you're trying to grab that bowl and it's just way too hot to handle. And sometimes, you know, you can grab pot holders or something like that, but I just find sometimes it can be a little slippy in your hands. This way, if you already have it in the cozy, yes, the cozy will heat up because if you put it in the microwave, but it still will protect your hands from getting scalded by the plate. So I thought that was really, really handy, very useful, and you can make it really cute. I did mine with like a cranberry color and a cream for like a vintage Christmas motif, but you can do it in any color you want. In fact, as soon as this video went live, I had 2 friends that said, I need 2 of those, please. So I have been feverishly making more bowl cozies. Okay, and lastly, we have come to the month of December. So this was just a couple of weeks ago that you saw this, and this was the holiday half mitt pot holder. So that's a mouthful. So you could call it a pot holder, you could call it an oven mitt. It's not really a full oven mitt. I've seen these around where it's just kind of like, it's a pot holder, but it also has pockets for your fingers, so it protects your fingers a little bit. So I took the idea of a mitt and that pot holder and I married them together. And it's double lined, so it's really, really thick so that you're really protected from the heat. And what I really liked about how I designed this is you can make it in one size. So you don't have to worry about the thumb hole or anything like that. You can fit your hand into it in any which way, and it should fit just about any sized hand. And it just gives you a little bit of extra protection. So I kind of made it just up to the wrist area, just about. And again, great for all those hot projects. So those mitts will make for great, fantastic housewarming gifts and hostess gifts. So a lot of holiday parties have been going on this month, or birthday parties, barbecues, anything like that. It's a great hostess gift. So you can make a pair and maybe put them in a basket with maybe the coasters you made, the placemats, the tea cozy. I mean, you could crochet a whole bundle of gifts and give them as housewarming gifts. Sometimes too, even when a young person is moving into their first apartment, and they need those little items that you don't think of at the time, but when you receive them as gifts, you're really grateful for. So I think that mitt is really handy, especially if you love to bake a lot, which I do. So that is it. Those are the 12 projects for Home Sweet Home 2024. So what do you guys think? Did you make a few of these projects this year? And if you're new here, you have a lot to dive into. Now, I know the first question that comes to mind every time I finish one of my year in review videos is, well, what do you have planned for next year? So there will be a video coming out in just a little bit, and I always make a sneak peek video. But I will let you in. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. You're going to have to watch that video. But I have already started working on my very first project for that series. So I have the series already planned and ready for 2025, but you'll have to stay tuned for the sneak peek video of that series. So I've already started working on it. What do you think it's going to be. Do you have any idea what I might do for next year's series? Leave it in the comment box down below. I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking that I might work on next year. So I've done quite a few themes already. So I did the 12 Gifts of Crochet. I did Year of the Bride. That was 2020, I believe. And then I did Life's a Beach. I think that was 2021, where everything was beach related. So if you're looking for some fun summer projects to start, that playlist might be a good one to look into. And then 2022, I believe, was Shawl We Crochet. So that was all shawls, a different shawl every month. So if you love doing shawls, check that one out. And last year, 2023, was Pillow Talk. That was a really, really fun one to do. So we did all kinds of pillow projects for every month of last year. And of course, this year, 2024, we did Home Sweet Home. And 2025 is starting off with this one. So you'll have to stay tuned to find out what that is. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you will have a wonderful rest of your holiday season. And by the way, if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope that you're still doing something lovely and special and treating yourself to relaxing a little bit. This time of year always seems to be hectic. No matter whether you celebrate the holidays or you don't, there's always a lot going on. People are trying to wind the year down. So I hope you remember to take good care of yourselves, take it easy, and make sure to check in on each other. You know, if you know someone that perhaps doesn't celebrate the holidays or is on their own, you know, make sure to just kind of check in on them, send them a text, say hi. You know, it doesn't cost you anything, and it's always lovely when people know that others are thinking about them, because I definitely appreciate you all being here with me. I feel fortunate that I have a lovely family and wonderful friends. And I'm also very grateful that I have wonderful online friends like you guys. So I will see you again in a few days to talk about the sneak peek for 2025. But in the meantime, I wish you a wonderful, beautiful Christmas, a happy holiday, and I will see you in the next session. Take care.